few of my thoughts, very few, very crisply. One, with my humble experience of public life, right from MLA, MP, state, center, party, government, and the constitutional position occupied, including the chairman of the upper house, I feel that we must all commit ourselves to the value system. We must preserve our culture and heritage. We must protect, promote, and propagate our mother tongue. We must live in harmony. We must all strive for peace, because peace is the prerequisite for progress. If you have tension, you cannot pay attention. It will be only retention and pretension, that's all. Keeping that in mind, we must all work for the peace. Share and care is the core of Indian philosophy. Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam. So we must all live together irrespective of caste, creed, sex, religion and region. We are all Indians, we are all Bharatiyas. We should keep it in mind and see to it that we teach our children this sort of thinking and culture. This is one thought I have. And the second thought is that there is need for reforms. Of course, the Prime Minister gave a three-line mantra: reform, perform and transform. He brought so many reforms. I am not going to get into details, but some more reforms are required in view of the experience we have in public life. We must see to it that the political, judicial, economic and social reforms are expedited for the betterment of the public life of India, and also to make we are the largest parliamentary democracy in the world. We feel proud about it, but certain weaknesses that have crept in, shortcomings that have come out, aberrations or whatever you call, we must take care of them. One is we should see to it that people with criminal background are avoided from politics. Character, caliber, capacity and conduct, that should be the criteria to select and elect people. But unfortunately, caste, creed, cash and community, they have replaced these forces. We must see to it that we go back to the original forces. And secondly, we must also see to it that immediate disposal of the cases pending against particularly politicians with criminal cases, they should be disposed of at the earliest. For years, criminal cases are pending and people are occupying various positions. I am not referring to particular party or persons, in general. This is agitating the minds of the people and spoiling the image of the country. And the third one is, we should also see to it and bring reforms that these election-related cases, they are disposed of by special bench or special tribunals. Election cases of 2009, 2014, 2019 are still pending. Really a shame to the system. We should see to it that such cases are disposed of within a particular period, 1 year or maximum 2 years. Otherwise, there is no meaning. When you get elected, there is a case against you, that tenure is over, then again elections take place and still it continues and the third tenure starts. This should be put to an end. And then the judicial reforms that we need is about the appointment of judges. I am not going into the dispute, but I am of the clear view the judges should not appoint judges. But at the same time, the government also should not appoint judges. There should be a system. And we must all evolve, whatever you call it as National Judicial Commission or whatever it is. The other day, the present Vice President also spoke about the same. This is not to cast aspirations on the judiciary, but we know what is happening. Keeping that in mind, we should bring reforms in such a manner after a wider debate and discussion and sharing our experiences, pooling our experiences together, we must bring judicial reforms. And then educational reforms. Educational reforms, thanks to Kasturi Rangan Committee report, we have the new education policy. There has to be an in-depth and wider debate across the country. And we must really come to certain conclusions to have Indian education system. We must give up the colonial education system, give up the colonial mindset, and we must get back to our roots, and we must have education based on Indian values, ethos and morals. That is very, very important, and we should start teaching our children right from the primary level. Then language policy. As I'm very clear that we should really promote, encourage, propagate our mother tongue. We have rich languages. We should feel proud of them. I am not against any language, including English. We must learn in as many languages as possible. But first is mother tongue. First mother tongue, then brother tongue, later any other tongue. No problem. I am saying it in a lighter manner, but we should first see to it our primary education is carried in our mother tongue. Children start educating themselves in the mother tongue. That is very, very important. Later you can go to other medium of instruction, including English. English is an international language, no doubt about it. But don't be under illusion that all the foreign heads are the great people of the world. They speak English, the French, the Russian, the German, the many. Those heads, they come to India. I also met them. When I was Vice President, I received some of them. To my knowledge, to my surprise, many of them were not speaking in English. One day I asked Sushma Swaraj, late Sushma Swaraj, my sister, why these people are not speaking in English? Are they not familiar in English? He said, some of them, yes, but they don't speak. They feel proud to speak in their mother tongue, and there is a translation. So that is the position, but we try to speak in English. Whether we have the full knowledge of English or not, we think it's a fashion to speak in English. This also has to be the thing. And then learning as many languages possible, English also. Nobody should have any opposition. That's why when I come to this site, there are strong views about various languages. My simple prescription for that is no imposition of any language on people. No imposition, no opposition. That is my proposition. And that should be the position. Why should we? I thought it's my duty and it's very important to encourage mother tongue. So I used to request the members to speak in their mother tongue. And we made a provision. Now you can speak in any of the 22 scheduled languages. It was there, but system has been now evolved. I would like that it should be improved further, and people of India from any state, they will be able to speak in their respective mother tongue, or people call it as regional language. I don't call them as regional languages. They are all national language. Tamil is a national language. Of course. And then people living in different states of different origins, they must also be provided to have education in their mother tongue. Everybody should follow the state language first. Then later, there should be an opportunity to study or speak in their respective mother tongue also. That is also equally important. When I go abroad and meet people of Indian origin, I tell them, do not forget your roots. In house, you speak in your mother tongue. But because now you are in America or France or any other country, follow the rules and regulations because they are the host country. The same thing applies to non-Tamils living in Chennai. They should respect the language here, try to learn Tamil, encourage children to learn Tamil, but at the same time, they should also have the facility to have promotion of their respective mother tongues. This is also another reform that is required. Then the legislature and parliament, there is a need for reform. There is a need for voluntary code of conduct by political parties. Otherwise, what is happening in assembly and parliament, sometimes it disturbs the people. And people feel, what is happening? And people, they get elected to assembly and then they fight, they tear the papers. Sometimes they tear their clothes also and use abusive language. Earlier people used to abuse each other, but now the latest trend is abusing mother and father also. A very serious situation is developing. And people do not have that decency, decorum and dignity. We go to parliament and assembly to discuss, debate and decide. Yes, you have a difference of opinion, you express it. Talk out or walk out. But don't do a breakout because it will create all out for democracy and our system. Political parties should select and nominate such good people who will raise the standard in public life. This is another desire of mine. And then we are seeing gender discrimination even now. The women, they do not get adequate representation. I do not know why the women's reservation bill is pending for long in parliament. I was also presiding officer. I used to talk to members privately. They say, sir, how can you forego our membership, sir? If you give 33%, then 67% of us will be out. They constitute 50% of the population. We must understand. And no country should interfere in the internal affairs of the other country. Every country is sovereign. And this United Nations, we are 1/6 of the world population. Still we are not permanent member of the United Nations Security Council. This is really very disturbing. So international community also must come to an understanding, the so-called Big Five. Why should they have any veto? Simply because they are economically rich or militarily powerful. There should be the democratization of United Nations Security Council should happen at the earliest. The reason for my success is the background which Guru Murthy has mentioned, the samskara, the initial training given to all of us by the RSS, discipline, hard work. And the second thing is hard work, as I was mentioning, I could occupy. And third thing is commitment, never changing parties. When I got elected, when I stood for election, people said, why you are standing from this party? And some elderly people, they frightened me, said, this is a North Indian party. This is an urban party. This is a party of educated. And one leader told me, this is a party of vegetarians. I was worried. First three things I was keeping quiet.